I want to talk to you today about staying positive toward yourself. The most important relationship you have is the relationship with yourself. Too many people don't like who they are. They focus on their faults and weaknesses. They relive their mistakes and failures. They wish they were different. If they were taller, had a better personality, looked like their cousin. Instead of accepting themselves as a masterpiece, they're critical toward themselves. And they wonder why they're not happy, why they don't have good relationships. It's because they don't like themselves. If you don't get along with you, you're not going to get along with other people. The best thing you can do for your family, for your friends, is be good to you. Be kind to you. Be merciful to you. Be forgiving to you. Be loving to you. You're good to others. Why aren't you good to you? You don't criticize your friend. Why are you criticizing you? You compliment your coworker. When's the last time you complimented yourself? You admire their talent. Why don't you admire your talent? Start being good to you. That's not being selfish. That's not arrogant. That's loving yourself. Too many people go through life against themselves, feeling wrong on the inside. I heard someone say, I discovered the enemy. It was me. Are you your enemy? Are you defeating yourself, limiting your dreams, sabotaging your relationships, all because you don't like you? You have enough people and circumstances against you. Don't be against yourself. When you wake up in the morning, don't lie in bed and think of everything wrong with you, what you don't like about your looks. Relive your mistakes. Why didn't I finish college? I should be more disciplined. I lost my temper yesterday. Instead of focusing on what's wrong with you, start focusing on what's right with you. You may have weaknesses. You've made mistakes. We all have. But there's a lot more right with you than there is wrong with you. Dwelling on the negative doesn't help you to do better. Beating yourself up for past mistakes doesn't move you forward. The better you feel about yourself, the better you'll do. The more you like yourself, the further you'll go. You can't give away what you don't have. If you're in turmoil on the inside, mad at yourself, critical, condemned, that's what you have to give. If you're hard on yourself, you'll be hard on others. If you don't forgive yourself, you won't forgive others. If you don't get along with you, how can you get along with your family? The best thing you can do is start being for you. When you love yourself, then you can love others. When you're kind to yourself, then you can be kind to others. It starts with you. Well, Joel, I have all these faults, these weaknesses. Once I overcome, once I learn to control my temper, be more disciplined, quit saying things that I shouldn't, then I won't be down on myself. If you're waiting to perform perfectly before you feel good about who you are, you'll be waiting your whole life. You have to accept yourself while you're in the process of changing.
You have to own your own happiness. Take it away from other people demanding that they make you happy. Your kids are not going to make you happy. Your spouse is not going to make you happy. A big house is not going to make you happy. Own your own happiness and be responsible for doing those things that bring joy into your own heart, independently of life and people and money and all of that stuff.
Right.
It doesn't necessarily give you a happiness. You have to take responsibility of that peace and that joy that lives inside of your heart and not inside of your stuff. The second thing that I think people need to do is challenge their own story, because people torment themselves about how they see their life. They've told themselves a story as if it were the truth when it is really a perspective truth. And sometimes you've narrated a story that you beat yourself to death with. Challenge your own story. Change the way you talk to yourself about who you are and what happened to you and what you're going to do in your life. You wrote the script. Change the story. The third thing that I think is very important is to enjoy the journey, not the destination. A lot of us delay our happiness. When I get to this level, when I get my degree, when I get the kids, when I get married, I'm going to be happy. Enjoy the journey. Enjoy the whole step, the whole process. Every day that you get up to strive for whatever it is you're after. You don't celebrate when you get to the finish line. Celebrate all along the way. The other point is make relationships count. Making your relationships count, because everything is about relationships. First of all, your relationship with God. That's a very important thing to have, because as long as you know that there's somebody in charge, you don't have to bear the brunt of the responsibility and the weight of what's going on in your life.
Yeah.
You can talk to the boss.
Yeah.
Okay. Number two, enjoy your relationship with yourself. If you don't like you, it makes it hard for me to like you. Enjoy your relationship with yourself. And then anybody else who comes in, they enter into a party you already started. And then the relationship with your kids, the relationship with your spouse, the relationship with your friends, taking time to enjoy the relationships, because there is no fruit. Nature teaches us that there is no fruit without relationships. You cannot be fruitful by yourself. In business, in home, in life, in church, I don't care what it is, you are no more than the relationships you surround yourself with, and make sure that those are good ones. The fifth thing that I really ascribe to is balance work with play. You can't do all of either one and be successful. And to those whom much is given, much is required. And if you work really hard, you're a really diligent person, make sure that you do some play to balance your life out. If you play real hard, but you don't work very much, you're going to be fun, but you're going to be hungry.
You can protect yourself from negativity. And that's what stops most people, negative thoughts. You can coat your mind from negativity. It's a real simple exercise to do. I do it every morning before I walk out the door. So I walk out as a positive person. You know, I get tired sometimes. That's different from being negative, because I get mentally drained from my job at times. But to coat your mind from negativity, the way you can put a coating around your mind is with one simple thing: gratitude. Gratitude erases negativity. I'm going to show you how this works. If you wake up in the morning and you start having negative thoughts, man, this ain't my day. I woke up on the wrong side of the bed. I'm tripping. I just don't feel myself. Every time you feel in the middle of the day, if you feel yourself doing that, stop. Just stop for a second and start going over in your mind everything you have to be grateful for. Not everything you want, everything you already have, because what you have is substantial. The fact that you can walk, that's a blessing. The fact that you woke up, that's another blessing. The fact that you can see, think, reason, that's another blessing. The fact that you can go somewhere and get yourself something to eat, that's another blessing. The fact that you can go and turn the key and call someplace home, that's another blessing. The ability to dream is a blessing. The fact that you have an opportunity to get it right is another blessing. The fact that you're beautiful, that's another blessing. The fact that you have any measure of health, that's another blessing. And I'm just talking to you, I don't even know you. I could give you 50 things you ought to be grateful for right now. I don't even know you. Start coating your mind with gratitude. It'll change everything for you.
Step number one, decide to develop the habit right now, the habit of focusing on what's right in your world instead of what's wrong. The habit of focusing on what you do have instead of what you don't have in a situation. And as basic as that is, and as well as you know it, you've got to make it a habit, because those habits form the chain of your ultimate character, of who you become and how you end up living your life. We've got to condition ourselves, because if we don't, we'll go back to the automatic state that most people live in today's society. All you want to do is establish the habit of noticing what you do have instead of what you don't have. Noticing what's great about a situation versus what's not great. Focusing on solution instead of problems. That's what changes your life. Here's key number 2. Instead of judging yourself and others, decide, remember these are decisions, decide right now to become curious instead of judgmental. Remember, when you find fault in other people, when you start noticing constantly how they've wronged you, how this person is not good enough, or they're too egotistical, they're too proud, or they don't really care about people, as soon as you start judging other people, you just got to remember something. If you start judging other people, you're going to also start judging yourself intensely. If you're angry at other people, there's a very good chance you're angry at yourself as well. Maybe we need to perceive more and judge less. Maybe instead of finding fault with other people without really thinking about what they've gone through to be where they are this day, maybe we can get really curious about what's making this person be in the state they're in, or what's the motivation behind this person's anger. Remember, we got to judge less, perceive more. We got to get curious. Instead of living in a society where we're so afraid to believe in anything or anyone that we believe in nothing at all, and we lose our power of positive thinking. We try to protect ourselves from things we maybe not even need to protect ourselves from. Free yourself from the disease of making others wrong and you'll free yourself from the disease and making yourself wrong. You have a lot more energy to create solution instead of problems. It's part of the power of positive thinking instead of falling for the destructive power of negative thinking. Remember, get curious instead of judgmental. Here's key number 3. If you really want to develop the power of positive thinking as a habit, as a lifestyle, as a strategy for success, then decide right now to find something to appreciate from any seemingly negative person or situation and develop the habit of giving compliments. See, if you really want to have some more positive feelings in your life, you got to keep focusing on what's right. You got to get curious. And most importantly, you got to find something to appreciate even in the tough times. Because in reality, as we've talked about so often before, the toughest times in your life sometimes provide you with the real resources to change your life. So what we've got to do is find something to appreciate, not someday when things work out. We got to appreciate where we are right now.
Choosing you and not being guilty about it. The pursuit of your own happiness is enough of a reason to make a major change.
One of the primary things I learned is that relationships, they define us. When they're going great, we feel great. When they're in breakdown, we feel like nothing's going right. What I realize is that if I get on my own vibration for Lisa, and I understand what does it mean to accept me? What does it mean to own my light? What does it mean to be at peace with everything about me, my good, my bad, my happy, my sad, my right, my wrong, and everything in between? Like when I can love my light and love my darkness, when I settle in who I am and I could feel full in my esteem, when others have a tendency to, not accept me, it lands a little easier. I remember there was a time in my life when all I wanted was for people to accept me. But I realized that I needed them to accept me and love me because I wasn't really accepting Lisa. I wasn't really loving Lisa to my fullest.
I want you all to stay true to the most real, most sincere, most authentic parts of yourselves. I want you to ask those basic questions. Who do you want to be? What inspires you? How do you want to give back? And then I want you to take a deep breath and trust yourselves to chart your own course and make your mark on the world.
The number one thing you have to do is to work on yourself and to fill yourself up and keep your cup full. Keep yourself full. Now, I used to be afraid of that. I used to be afraid, particularly from people who say, oh, she's so full of herself. She's so full of herself. And now I embrace it. I consider it a compliment that I am full of myself. Because only when you're full, I'm overflowing. My cup runneth over. I have so much to offer and so much to give. And I am not afraid of honoring myself. You know, it's miraculous when you think about it.
Trust yourselves to chart your own course and make your mark on the world. Maybe it feels like you're supposed to go to law school, but what you really want to do is teach little kids. Maybe your parents are expecting you to come back home after you graduate, but you're feeling a pull to travel the world. I want you to listen to those thoughts. I want you to act with both your mind, but also your heart. And no matter what path you choose, I want you to make sure it's you choosing it and not someone else.
If you fully love and show up for you first, then you're less impacted, you're less disrupted when someone doesn't embrace you the way you believe you should be embraced. See, I realize that we are iron for others. Iron sharpens iron. We're also triggers for others. There's 1,000 reasons why someone might reject you. My grandmother says, man's rejection is God's protection. So not everyone that's in your space should be in your space. And sometimes people have to opt out on your behalf to help you out. How many times have you been in a friendship or relationship and it ended? And maybe not immediately after it ended, But somewhere in the next 30, 60, 90 days, a year, maybe 2 years, you took a deep breath. I actually feel more relief that that relationship has transitioned. Whether it's a relationship with a job, a friend, an ex, whatever. So while we don't want to have rejection in our life, I say all rejection isn't bad. And sometimes it's not rejection. It's simply transition. It's simply completion. I realized that I wanted everyone to love me. But when I began to love Lisa, I stopped having to manage or having the desire to manage how other people like me. Your job is to wake up each day and like you. Now, when people reject you, there's something that they're triggered by. When people reject you, there's something in you that's occurring. So if you're finding that you're being rejected in different environments and you're the common denominator, rejection in some cases is feedback. If someone's giving you feedback, multiple people are giving you feedback in the way they're embracing you or letting you go, or in the way that they're sharing how you show up, listen to the feedback. One of the hardest things for me to do was to hear consistent feedback. Lisa, you're stubborn. Lisa, you're stubborn. Lisa, you're stubborn. I defended for years. I am not the average Taurus the bull, though I'm a Taurus. I'm not stubborn. And then I kept getting the same feedback. And I realized you are stubborn. You can be rigid, because I kept getting that feedback. So if you find that you're getting the same feedback from multiple people and they're not corralling and running a mutiny against you, they're really different environments, different people, then listen to the feedback. Because what I love about feedback, even though it stings, feedback is feeding your future possibility. I'll say that again. You might want to write that down. Feedback is feeding your future possibility. If you choose to take the feedback and embrace it and own it and allow it to elevate you and influence your future decisions, then it can help you to evolve. It can help you to continue to become the person you're evolving into. So rejection could be a form of feedback. And when you talk about being rejected, particularly by women, again, remember, we trigger each other. I used to walk into a room and I could see the energy shifting, but I also walked into the room and I was looking for if the energy shifted. Now I walk into the room and I look for the person that's going to love and embrace me. I walk in a room, I own my light, I own my greatness, but I also own my humility. And I look for the light that's reflecting me. And I tap into and I'm drawn to that light. And anything else in the room that's not light, that's not love, it can coexist with me, but it doesn't get to influence me.
Choosing happiness for yourself is what truly allows you to begin bringing happiness to other people. So during the holiday season, we've already been conditioned to give and give and give and give and give and give and give to others. But it's important to make time for yourself too. That care is the gift you give to yourself. Being able to choose what's right for you and knowing when it is right.
Give yourself exactly what you need. You're not looking for other people to validate you. You're looking for other people to affirm, to stand in alignment with you, with what you know to be so, but you're not placing your stock and your self-value in the hands of your boss, your relationship, your children, your family. That you wake up each morning and you say, and I've said this before, I am enough. Today I'm pleased with who I am. Before you start the day, I always say that my job is to like Lisa first. Before anything that occurs today, my job is to like Lisa and to know that I'm going to bring the best version of me in every situation I can. To like me before anyone on Facebook likes me, and to know that I'm okay. What does it mean to be everything to you? That's not an arrogant statement. It's not a place of self-indulgence. It's to recognize that self-care is not selfish. It's to recognize that you can only serve others from a full cup, and that it's your job to fill yourself up. Fill yourself up with positive thinking. That's why you're here. Fill yourself up with new possibility. That's why you're here. Fill yourself up with new opportunities. Fill yourself up with having the best people on your planet. Loving yourself enough to remove unhealthy, toxic
people out of your life.
I want you to learn how to fail and win anyway. You got to learn this one now. I want you to learn how to fail and win anyway. Because this is what you're going to have to do. Because let me tell you something. As successful as you've been up to this point, once again, I congratulate you to the fullest. But let me tell you something. You about to get to fail. Because you finna taste life like it really is. See them people up here, they tired of buying you laptops and iPhones and sneakers and all that. They hoping with everything in them that this degree flips the script. That you one day buy them a TV and another house. Look, I got 7 kids. All 7 of my kids either done graduated or they in college now. You know why I send them to school? So they can pay me back. That's the only reason. I just want my money back. If they could just give me a ROI, or return on investment, give me the money I dumped into y'all. Just give it back to me. Know how much paper I don't spend on these kids of mine? But you got to learn how to fail, though, and win anyway. You got to overcome. So now here's the lesson. Behind every moment of adversity, every single moment of adversity in your life, 2 things are going to happen. There's going to be a lesson, and there's going to be a blessing. You got to wait on both of them. If you let the adversity crumble, if you focus on the adversity, you will lay there and wallow in the fact that you have failed. Because failure coming. But life is 10% what happened to you. It's 90% what you do about it. Man, so what you fail. It's not really failure, though. Every time you fail, it's a valuable, taught, learned experience that makes you greater for later on. They didn't tell you this at ASU. Once again, I can only use this. December 21st, I hosted Miss Universe. Do you know, in that moment of failure, you know what really happened to me? The biggest mistake on television. Do you know one of my prayers, because every morning I have a gratitude prayer. I have a list of 89 things that I read before I start my day. I don't wake up without reading it. I don't go to bed. It's on my iPhone. It's under my notes section. I have a gratitude prayer because one of the principles of success is the more you're grateful for, the more he gives you to be grateful for. Look, I don't know but 4 or 5 scriptures. I done one of them already, so I ain't got but 3 more. But them 4 or 5 ones that I know, they 4 or 5 good ones though. They got me here today. So now in gratitude, when you show God gratitude, he give you more stuff to be grateful for. So I wake up in the morning, I thank him for a list of things. In my gratitude prayer, I put in several requests. One of my requests, because I have businesses overseas, one of my requests was, I was asking God to increase my global persona and reputation. Now, I didn't appreciate the way he did. I did not care for the route he took. I was really looking upside God's head. Hey, man, because the day after, my name on social media was Googled 2 billion times in 48 hours. I was on the front page of 64 countries' newspapers. He had increased my global persona and reputation. But it happened in a moment of adversity. And see, this is how God works, man. This is why you got to grab this from me now. It happened in a moment of adversity. I shamed myself. Man, it was humiliating. I had death threats. We got security. My wife could tell you. with her fine self sitting over there. What's up, girl? I see. Love you back. Stay with me. Thank God for that over there every day. If he ain't done nothing for me, he gave me that day over there. That was the adversity. We got security at our house now, don't we? I have guards that come to my house. That's in my yard behind my gate. We had serious death threats. Colombia was so upset. You know, them boys, they sell drugs. They got drug cartel over there. You got, you know, when they mad at you, you got to pay attention. You know, this ain't, can't just play them off. You know, there ain't no skinhead. I had death threats. I had so many memes done about me. Some of y'all did the memes yourself. I had friends on TV that I thought was my friend just doing memes about me. Man, it was a week of just agonizing humiliation. Every newspaper, every morning show wanted to interview me. I wouldn't do no interview. There was some adversity that hit my life. And as people was trying to make fun of it, my family was in pain. We were suffering. But what I tell you though, behind every moment of adversity, there's two things. There's a lesson and there's a blessing. Here was the lesson. They ain't gonna get me like that no more. What you put in that teleprompter has to match what you put on the card, and it's got to coordinate with the IBF that I had in my ear. Because everything on that monitor and everything in my ear and on that card, the next name, according to the teleprompter, was Miss Columbia. Miss Columbia! Oh, it was a great moment. I went all the way in the back. 2 minutes went by. Ain't nobody said nothing. Then they discovered it was a mistake. Then they said, we got to fix this. The guy in my ear said, we'll straighten it out in the morning dew. I walked out there myself. I decided. I'm walking back out there. The man in my ear say, where you going? What are you going to do? You said we got to fix it. So I went out there and took the whole bullet myself. They changed the card from all 3 days rehearsal. They never did a runner-up because it was a new company. They did it different. Hey, they messed up everything. I took the bullet and the blame. Because my mom, the Sunday school teacher, and my daddy, the coal miner, was alive in it. Do the right thing. Be a man, own up. Now, that was the lesson in it for me. Now the blessing. Hang on. Because you don't know what God's going to do. A few weeks later, I have Miss Columbia on my talk show. Miss Columbia gave me the highest rating I've ever had in the history of my 4-year-old talk show. Blessing number one. Blessing number two, T-Mobile called and paid me millions of dollars to do a Super Bowl commercial. A cha-ching. They paid me so much money, I go out there next year and say the wrong name again. You got to wait and see what God got for you. I told my wife, I said, I always wanted a Super Bowl commercial. Said had one. They never gave me one. He gave me all of that, increased my global persona. We now have villas in 12 countries. Free villas that we can go to, 8-bedroom villas. I can come for a month. Me and my family absolutely free. See what God do? You got to work through the adversity. When adversity hits y'all and it's coming, remember there's a lesson and a blessing. You got me? All right, next thing I need for y'all to know. This is the third lesson. Quit asking God to make your life easy, because he ain't going to do that. See, people, y'all go to church, man. Y'all got all these scriptures y'all memorized, don't apply none of them to your life. God ain't finna make your life easy. Lord Jesus, Lord, I don't want this on me. Sorry. Lord, take away all my worries. That's you worried. Lord, I don't want to do this. Lord, I'm so tired. Lord, help. What y'all doing? Quit asking God for that. You got to have some faith. See, listen to me. Faith don't make it easy. Faith makes it possible. You got to have faith, man. If you're going to graduate and whatever it is you're trying to accomplish, you got to put some faith on it. You can get through with all this here. You're going to get your degree. And man, I can't tell you how big this is. But it's going to be a piece of sheepskin that's going to hang on your wall. You got to go do something. You got to get some faith in your life. Lord Jesus, I want my life to be easy. It ain't finna be easy. You're going to lose some loved ones along the way. You're going to not get the job you want. Somebody on your job one day going to come in there and hand you a slip of paper and tell you they don't even want you here no more. One of your companies is going to up and relocate, and you ain't going to have the money or the resources to go with the company. You're going to go outside the club one day, your car going to be gone. You know, people steal. I didn't say repoed, I said stole. Your car going to be gone. You're going to drive up one day, your house going to be on fire. Lord. Now your house fully ablaze. What is you asking God to take the fire off your house for? Your house is already on fire. Lord Jesus, had him drive my car back up here. Thieves don't return cars. Faith don't make it easy, man. Faith make it possible. I rode a bike for 4 hours and a treadmill and a elliptical machine for 4 hours every day for a month to raise money for my family. Somebody said, man, you're 59 years old. I know you can't believe it, but they said, you're 59 years old. How you going to do your radio show and ride this bike and treadmill for 4 hours? I don't know. I do not know. They said, man, that's impossible. Have you ever done that for 4 hours in a row? I said, no. They said, well, how you going to do it? I said, I'm going to use some faith. They said, what you mean, man? That's hard. I got it's hard. But faith don't make it easy. Faith make it possible. You know what I did? I tried to raise $1 million for my mentoring camp. I got on that bike, that treadmill, elliptical for 4 hours every day for a whole month. Didn't miss a day. Only got off a bathroom break. All I wanted was $1 million, but here come God with his grace again. And he be killing me with his grace. I tried to raise $1 million. You know how much we raised? $1.8 million. That's that grace. That's that grace I'm telling you about. He give you above and beyond anything you can think or imagine. You got to put some faith. The last thing I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to let y'all go, because, man, I want y'all to come across here and get this paper. Your greatness is in your imagination. Uh-oh. This the hard. This the one. I'm closing with this one. This the one where ain't nobody going to be able to follow me. See, whoever come up here next, I'm a headliner. Hard to go behind the headline. Listen to this. Your greatness is in your imagination. Don't get this degree and forget about your imagination. I'm going to teach you something now. If you don't get nothing else I say, I need everybody's attention in here, because this is for everybody. At my mama's church, there was a scripture that they used to read, and every time they read it, the church went crazy. And the scripture was about faith. The scripture said faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. Okay, you've all heard it. I heard it around the room. Faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. Boy, when they said that at my mama's church, everybody in the building stood up and started clapping. I did too. But can I be real with you? I didn't even know what that meant. I just didn't. I mean, let's be real. Come on now, that King James version, that's a little rough sometimes. I got to get that Bible with about the 4 different translations in it, because the King James, thither thou, henceforth, furthermore, I'm out. Man, my reading comprehension ain't ever been good. I went to high school, and I had 695 in my graduating class. I graduated 690. I gave them 5 people hell every time I saw them, too. I didn't get that Bible verse until one day I was reading a book. And in this book, there was a quote by Albert Einstein. And he paraphrased that scripture. You know what I'm saying? He took it and put it in regular English where a dude like me could get it. You know what Albert Einstein said? Look at here now. He said, that lady said, what'd he say? That's why I like working in front of y'all. said, imagination is everything. It's the preview to life's coming attraction. You gotta get this now. Imagination is everything. It's the preview to life's coming attraction. Man, do you know what that means? This was good news for me. I needed to hear this because you know what that meant? That meant everything you've ever imagined is real. But it's not only real, it was God showing you a preview of a coming attraction that he has for you. Oh, man, trip me out now. Trip me out. Man, I almost started crying. Do you know how bad I needed that information? See, you've been thinking that your imagination is hocus pocus, that it's just some thoughts, them random thoughts. But let me trip you out, though. Have you ever tripped on this before? Do you know that it is impossible for you to think an impossible thought? That is impossible. You ain't that smart. So how did that imagination get in your head? You want me to tell you? It was God. God put it there. He put it there to show you a preview of a coming attraction he has for you. This whole time you've been imagining stuff. It was God been showing you something he got for you. Your problem is, though, you tell your imagination to the wrong people. See, if you want to kill your big dreams, tell it to a small-minded person. Oh, they shoot it down every time, don't they? Bet you ain't know I was going to say this, did you? Yeah, see, listen to me. This what it's about now. See, quit telling everything to everybody. See, you go up and you tell it to your friends and your so-called loved ones. And because you think they care about you, you know how many of y'all done had a really wonderful idea? Something God showed you, a business, a transfer, an opportunity, more education, more training. And man, this can change your world. You know how many of y'all done had this wonderful idea and you went in there and took it to that so-called friend and loved one and they shot it down. And because you thought they loved you, you thought they had your best interest at heart, so you believed them. Man, they was wrong. They was wrong. If God had wanted it in their head, he'd have put it in their head. He put your imagination in your head. Don't let this degree mess up your imagination. Your greatness is in your imagination. Now, let me tell you how this works. Everything you have in here today, everything you are, is simply because you imagined it and you believed it. You said you got a college degree. You're getting a degree today because you imagined it. But guess what? You believed it. Guess what? You're getting a degree today. You see how this works? Let's make it real simple. How about that hairstyle on your head? How you think it got up there? See, everybody's hairstyle in here different. It's the one you imagine would look good on your head. You believed it. That's the one you got. How about that outfit you wore? That's the one. You know what? That outfit was just on a coat hanger somewhere. It was just dangling on a coat hanger. You imagined it on your body. You believed it would look good on you. That's the one you got. That car you drive, anybody make you buy that car? There was a whole lot of cars on that lot. You went in there, you imagined yourself driving off the lot in that car. If you'd imagined the Rolls Royce, he'd have probably gave you that one. But no, you wanted the Prius. So now you're driving off the lot in the Prius. See, I am a product of prayer. I'm a product of grace, mercy, forgiveness. My mama prayed for me all the time. So here I stand, product of that. But let me tell you something else, though. I'm also a product of my imagination. See, I imagined some of that. Faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. Your imagination is the evidence of things not seen. Because in your imagination, can't nobody see it but you. Now, if you're in here and you think you too old to hear what I'm saying to you, my best example is Kentucky Fried Chicken. I don't know if you noticed the picture of the man on the bucket, but he old. He ain't 30 years old. Colonel old. Colonel had been telling people his whole life, I got the best chicken in the world. Ain't nobody believed him. They didn't give him a franchise till he was in his 60s. Kentucky Fried Chicken sell more chicken than anybody in the world. So if you're sitting in here thinking you're too old, I'd rather be rich and hit it in my 60s than to die poor and never have hit it at all. Now, last thing, and I'm out your way. Imagination is everything. It's the preview to life's coming attraction. Let me ask you a question. When you go to the movie and you get there real early, and you get your popcorn and you sit down, before the movie starts, what do they show you? A preview of a coming attraction. Have you ever seen a preview and the movie ain't come out? Oh, the movie coming out. Whether you go or not, the movie coming out. Whether you like the trailer or not, that movie do 100 million at the box office. You might not like the actor. That actor get an Oscar for that movie. The moral of the story, the next time your Heavenly Father shows you a preview, go to the movie. You're probably starring in it. I bet you'll like it when you get down there. Appreciate y'all having me. Thank y'all. If you're not happy with your life, it's because you're not living in your gift and you are decided to pursue a passion. But I can't win no money. I can't make the cut. I'm a 16 handicap. That's on a good day. I wanted to play in the NBA. When I was growing up, I wanted to play in the league. That was my goal, to play in the NBA. Well, I wasn't gifted at it, though. There's a couple of problems. If I ran at full speed, I didn't have the ball. And when I shot it, it ain't go in a lot of times. Now, you put that together, you can quit talking about the NBA. My gift was I had the ability, and I didn't know it at a young age, but I had the ability to take information instantly and transform it into comedy. I didn't know that was a gift. I just thought it was something I did. It got me in more trouble than I've ever. It has been the biggest curse, because when you're young, you don't know it's a gift. You're just doing it. Now, as I got older, this gift has transformed a little bit. I can take information and turn it into inspiration. I can take information and turn it into motivation. And the reason I'm here today is because my life has been jacked up. And I have learned and mastered something. I've mastered the principles of success. You can't tell me I can't. That's what I've done. I've mastered the principles of success. I know them by heart, inside out. You can't tell me nothing about it. About success. I cannot help but intertwine faith in there. So if you don't really care for the faith piece, you ain't gonna really care for me. Because I cannot tell you how I made it without telling you about God or the principles. Every principle of success, it comes from God Almighty. It's in whatever religious reading you read. That's not my business what you believe in. You just got to believe in some. I told a group earlier, I don't care what you call God. You can call God Allah, Jehovah, Yahweh. You can call him whatever you want to call him. Just call him, though. It's name my business what you call him. I don't care. But I cannot stand here and talk to you about my road to success, I cannot inspire these young people that I tried to get to early today and not intertwine faith. So I'm sorry if that ain't your thing, but y'all done paid me now, so here I am. I got the money wired to my account, so here it is. Take a deep breath. I tell people all the time, you know, and I was talking to young people, and what I try to get people to understand is, I don't care who you are in this room. If you gotten to a place in your life where you felt like, you know, life should have been more for you, or you trying to figure your life out, there's one simple way to get it done. God, when he created all of us, he never created an individual without bestowing a gift in it. And God put that gift in all of us. Some of you are gifted in teaching, networking, counseling, sharing, life-saving. Some of you are caretakers, but you're gifted. If you work in your gift, you now find your purpose in life, a real meaning for waking up in the morning. You know, a lot of people, you know people that get up and go to work in the morning, they just miserable. They hate driving to work. They hate their job. They hate their coworkers because they ain't doing what they want to do with their life. Now, that's not your fault. That's their fault. But God, when he created all of us, he gave all of us a gift. We were born with a gift at birth. God ain't made nobody and gave them a gift. Now, the thing of it is, if you stop looking at your gift as running, jumping, singing, dancing, then you can get on with your life. But so many people are pursuing their passion instead of pursuing their gift. Most of you have mastered the principles of success. But when you're talking to young people, you're talking to some people that ain't mastered that aspect yet. It's our job to teach young people the principles of success. They got to learn from your mistakes. See, I messed my life up so I could turn around and talk about it one day. I've been divorced twice. I've lost everything I own in my life twice. I lost it all again in 2005. At the end of 2005, I had $1,700. In 2005, I had made millions of dollars. I had $1,700 at the end of 2005. I've been homeless. I lived in a car for 3 years. I learned some principles, and I started applying. So I'm a little bit different Christian than most people right here. I just happen to be a little bit more real about it. You know, I don't really know where a lot of scriptures are in the Bible. I just happen to know what's in there and what ain't in there. And I had a lady the other day on my show. I had slipped up and cussed on one of the commercial breaks because I've been working on my cussing, but that's not really working for me. I have just come to the conclusion that I'm just going to be a cussing Christian. I've been trying to get it and shake it, but it ain't working for me, man. And I accidentally cussed on a commercial break. And the lady, I could tell she was a little put off by it. And I didn't mean to. You know, I don't want to be offensive to people, but, you know, I was just talking naturally. And she just stood up and said, I have a question for you, Mr. Harvey. She said, so how's your walk going with Christ? I thought about it. I said, well, I walk tall. I walk strong with long strides and a slight limp. And that's how I walk. Now, if you ain't got no limp to your walk, congratulations. Mine has a slight limp to it. And every now and then, the flaws that I have come out. See, the difference between me and a lot of people, I happen to be famous. So my flaws have a microphone and a spotlight and the internet connected to it. You might can make your mistake at the house and don't nobody know nothing about it. But I got people watching me all day long. So what I've learned in this journey along the way of having my life as twisted as it was, I've learned the principles of success. I've learned how to get back up, how to fall and fail, get written off, say you ain't gonna ever be nothing. I've learned how to start over. I've learned how to take one heap of all my winnings and risk it on one turn or pitch and toss, lose and start again at my beginnings and never once breathe a word about my loss. Yeah, I've learned stuff like that. That's Rudyard Kipling, in case you didn't recognize that little poem. I stole that. That's when I was paying a little bit of attention in college. I didn't get the degree, but I was listening just a little bit. And when I talk to you, I try to get people to identify with these principles. The greatest thing that you could do in your life, I told the kids earlier, you know, we're at a college institute, so it kind of trips people out a little bit when I say this. And I tell them how important it is to get your education, yada, 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 because we're at a college, that's what I got to say. But then I turn right around, I tell them the truth, though. The most important thing in your life ain't your education. The most important thing in your life is your dream. See, the scripture says a man without a dream or a vision shall perish. Don't say nothing about education. Now, you got to have one if you're going to climb to certain jobs and go into corporate ladder and be in banking and be in finance and all this stuff y'all doing. But it's the dream that propels you. Look, man, we got to break this thing down real simple for people someday. Quit acting bougie like you've been rich all your life. That's what killed me. You know, I come to these functions, everybody sit up, they lean back in their chair, they speak proper grammar, they get their nose up. You act like you had money all your life. I ain't had money all my life. I come into some money, but I've been scrapping and hustling and grinding and trying to get over. And so have you. But then you get here and you don't have no memory of that. Because now your life is fixed. And so now when you talk to young people, you don't talk to them from the perspective of you made mistakes too. You don't talk to young people like, hey, been there, done that. I smoked weed in college too, man. I know where you at. You don't want to tell them that. Now, Clinton smoked weed. He the president of the United States. I'm going to probably say a lot of stuff. I already know that I'm not coming back next year. That's clear. I ain't got no problem. See, that's why I give my money wide to me. Because I already know I'm going to mess around and say something. I'm going to throw somebody into something. Because I see a couple of looks on y'all's face right now. But I don't really care. I'm out of here. I'm going to go get on this jet. I'm going to go down here. My wife down in Miami, man. I'm going to go sleep with my wife tonight. I don't care what y'all do. I was telling you about your gift. This is how you save yourself a lot of trouble. Now, this may apply to some adults in this room. Maybe not. Your gift is the thing that you do the absolute best with the least amount of effort. That's your God-given gift. You ain't got to trip on it, wonder about it. It's what you do better than anything else. Now, whether you've chosen to make that your life's work or not, that's your choice. But I got news for you. If you don't ever pursue that, you ain't gonna ever be happy. It's some unhappy people in this room today because there's some people in here doing what people expect them to do and doing what was required of them, and they just got locked into it. Now you got bills and a family and you don't really want to pursue your dream. So now you got the job and you just gonna ride it all the way out. There ain't nothing wrong with that. If your job is what you gifted at doing, this man is gonna retire this year, but he's been in the education of young people's minds. He's been shaping young people's minds for 30 years like that. That's what he was gifted to do. If you're sitting up in here and you ain't happy, and you in misery, it's because you ain't pursued your gift. And I'm telling them young people over there with them blue shirts on and them striped ties, find out what your gift is and pursue it with everything in you. Because ain't nothing worse than getting a degree and you don't even want it after you get it. Because a degree ain't nothing but a piece of paper hanging on a wall. Now, it signifies that you have the ability to complete a task, but your life is made up of what you do with it. Life is 10% what happens. It's 90% of what you do about it. You got to do something with your life, man, that makes your heart beat in the morning when you wake up. See, people ask me all the time, how you do all these jobs, Steve? Because I like all my jobs. You cut your radio on 240 times a year. I do a 4-hour live radio show. How you do that every morning? Well, the main reason is they got a nice check, but other than that, I wake up in the morning, I give people some inspiration, I play music, and I tell jokes. Okay, boom, I like doing that. Then I go to a talk show. I live in Chicago 8 months out the year, 34 weeks. I tape 180 talk shows in Chicago. How you do that every day? Because I love doing it. Then I go to Atlanta. I live in Atlanta, and in 9 weeks, I tape 200 episodes of Family Feud. Man, how you tape all them shows? Once again, they have a check attached to this. But I love what I do. If you cut your TV on, it's obvious that I love what I do. I'm always smiling because God has given me the life of my dreams because I'm living in the gift he gave me. If you live in your gift, man, it changes your life. Do something about your gift. Listen to me. I don't care what job you got now. If it's something that really burns on the inside of you, you ought to go do that. I don't care how old you are. How come you think Kentucky Fried Chicken? How come you think that man on the side, why you think he old? Because his recipe got discovered when he was 68. That ain't the picture of the colonel when he was 35. But he been frying chicken. You can't just wake up and start frying chicken. He been frying chicken with this secret recipe for years. It took him a long time for it clicked, but he kept frying chicken, man. So he became the biggest chicken joint in the world. You can't go nowhere and don't see Kentucky Fried Chicken. That ain't real chicken. But when he was living, it was real chicken, though. It really was chicken. It was the actual parts. If you peel that skin off that Kentucky Fried Chicken, you're in for a surprise. It don't look nothing like. But he hit it. When is it too late to hit it? When is it really too late to hit the jackpot? When is it? When you're 60, that's too late. You don't want to be rich then? What, just 65, too late for you to be rich? When is it too late to hit it? Man, put some spark in your life. Have something to wake up about to make your heart beat in the morning. To have a joyous spirit when you wake up in the morning. Here's another principle of success. I'm going to tell you what rich people talk about all the time. You know what rich people talk about all the time? They talk about money all the time. All the principles of success is in the Bible. See, a man is as he thinks. So, what you think, excuse the grammar, but that's what you is. Don't it make better sense? Bad grammar makes better sense sometimes. If a man is as he thinking, then what you think is what you is. That make real good sense to me. See, yeah, I like to keep it where people remember stuff I say. So rich people, you know what they do? They talk about money. Now, when you talk about money around people, they get tight because they don't want to hear the money. Well, money's not everything, and money can't buy you happiness. They ain't got no money. Money might not buy you happiness, but it park you right in front of happy house. You can get out, ring doorbell, see if happy home. There's nothing wrong with money. People, so many things have been said over the years. When rich people get together, they talk about money. They talk about business all the time. There's nothing wrong with that. See, we go to church and we learn the wrong thing. You know what messed me up, man? When I was little, I went to church in Cleveland, and the preacher would always say, it's as hard for a rich man to get into the kingdom of heaven as it is for a camel to get through the eye of a needle. Now, me and the rest of the ignorant members, we thought that you was trying to take a needle with a sewing thread and push a camel through it. All the people in my church collectively decided they didn't want to be rich because they wanted to go to heaven. I was sitting there at 10-year-old. I wasn't really buying into this because I was trying to figure out how I was going to get this camel into this hole. Because I didn't know what they was talking about because I wanted to be rich. Because this poverty I was allergic to it. I itched all the time. I just came from being poor. It's just fine just to be digging in yourself sometimes because you're poor. Poverty is uncomfortable. First of the month comes, your whole butt tighten up. Just like somebody squeezing lemon juice down the crack of your behind because it's the first of the month. All this stuff is due. Shot. That's your butt. Shot. Just tightening up because you ain't got the money. Why would I not want no money? I live in the hood. I want out. I need money to get out. But at my church, they said it's as hard for a rich man to get into the kingdom of heaven as it is for a camel to get through the eye of a needle. So I bought into that. I was about 30, almost 38. I was in Hollywood. I was driving down the street. I ran up in a Donnie McCoy. He was coming out of the studio on Sunset. I was in the truck smoking a cigar. I saw Donnie. I said, hey, man, what's happening? He said, hey, Steve, man, this was one of the first years I had hosted Celebration of Gospel. And I was going to quit hosting Celebration of Gospel because I didn't like the gospel community because they didn't like me. Backstage, they be saying stuff like, I don't know why he is hosting our gospel show. He ain't saved. I don't know what y'all talking about. I'm here for the check. Let's be clear about this. I've been in church my whole life, but, I ain't living no perfect life, and I wasn't, but, that was my life at the time. And I was going to quit, and I was telling Donnie I was thinking about quit. He said, man, why you going to quit? I was telling him, man, I said, man, I'm just confused right now, man. I said, I don't get it. I said, man, so I think about going back to church, man, but I want to go to heaven, but man, I'm finna start making this money down here, and it just don't jive with Christianity. He said, what you mean? And I told him what the preacher, that it's hard for a man to get through the kingdom of heaven as it is for a camel through the eye of a needle. So Donnie looked at me a little confused because, he a pastor. And I was just telling him, but I'm trying to find a way to get the camel in needle. He said, Steve, that's not what it means. I said, what does it mean? He says, in the Middle East, a needle is an arc that is stuck in the sand that looks like a wishbone on a chicken. And they have them to entryways sometimes. And when a camel approaches the needle, in order for the camel to get through the needle, he has to kneel and crawl through the needle. And then the camel gets back up. He said, that's what God meant. I said, Donnie, you mean they ain't talking about a sewing needle? He said, fool, you can't put a camel through a sewing needle. After that, I said, I got to go make me some money. I just humble myself before God like I'm going through the needle, and he ought to let me in. But I'm going in with some money, though. I became friends with Oprah Winfrey because of obvious reasons. We ain't going to keep saying that, but she's a very successful woman. She's a very kind person. Everybody get a bad rap on the internet. She thinks she did too. Well, a lot of people shooting at her. The thing about haters, man, haters kick you when they down and they throw at you when you're up. And they just do it all damn day. They're just haters. You got them on your job. You got them at your church. You got them, they just hate it. They just haters. Haters because they ain't got nothing else to do. They want to be you. They can't. So here come the hate. And I don't mind haters long as they throw them because I'm usually up. You can throw up at me. I don't address you. And I was talking to Oprah one time and she said, I did a life class with her this past year. And she said, Steve, I never knew you had a vision board. She said, you believe in that? And this is the first time we had a serious conversation. I said, Oprah, how I'm not going to believe in that? Every successful person I know has a vision board or they have their goals written down. You can't do it without writing it down. When you write it down, it's a symbol of faith. See, I was telling the story earlier about writing it down. Teacher, we were in the sixth grade and asked us to write on a piece of paper. We came in from summer what you want to be when you grow up. So everybody filled out the paper. You had to put your name on it, had to write this one thing in 1968. So I wrote, I want to be on TV. Because nobody had told me I couldn't. I was 10. My vision was wide open. So I wrote, I want to be on TV. She collected all the papers. She started going around the room, naming everybody's name, had everybody stand up. And she read what they wanted to be. Barbara want to be a nurse. Johnny want to be a basketball player. Robert want to own a gas station. Cindy want to be a doctor. She got to me, she waited last. Now, I had never gotten a gold star before. All of my years of school. And she asked me to stand. And when I stood, she said, little Stevie, come to the front of the class. Now I'm thinking to myself, this is it. This is the gold star moment. I've been waiting 10 years for this. I ain't never got a star before. This is the day. So I started walking to the front. I'm skinny. I got my brother's clothes on because we were poor. I got up there and she said, Steve, let me ask you something. What did you write on your paper? I said, I want to be on TV. She said, and why did you write that on your paper? I said, because that was our assignment for today. And then she said, what you write that on the paper for? Now I'm thinking to myself, judging by the tone of this conversation, this might not be the gold star moment I thought it was going to be. So I started cowering down. And she said, so why did you write it on the paper? And I said, because you asked us to. Voice is really softening. She said, do you know anybody on TV? I said, no. Anybody in this school ever been on TV? I said, no. Any of your relatives been on TV? I said, no, ma'am. She said, take this paper. I'm going to call your mama. When you go home, I'm going to tell her you being a smart aleck in this class. Now you take this paper and you come back with something more believable on it. So she pinned a note on me and I had to go home. My mama was waiting on me because she called the house. So my mother said, what you doing up at that school being a smart aleck? I said, Mama, I just did what the teacher told me to. She read the note. She said, what you write this on your paper? I said, because the lady asked me what I wanted to be. I won't be on TV. She said, I'm telling your daddy when you get home. Well, my father was the executioner. My mother was the warden, and he was the executioner. And I knew when he got home, I was going to get my ass whooped. So, excuse me, I'm sorry, that slipped out. I didn't really sorry about that. I was going to get my butt whipped. And so when my father came home, she told my father, look what Steve wrote on this paper. So he read the paper. He said, what's going on here? Said, Steve up at that school act like a smart ass. That teacher done asked him what he wanted to be, and he done put, I want to be on TV. My father read the paper. He said, what's wrong with that? I started thinking, a reprieve. So he said, boy, go in your room. I'll be in there in a minute. And I got my spankings in the room, so I went on in there getting ready. Him and my mother had an argument. My father came in the room. He said, boy, what you write this on your paper for? He said, because I want to be on TV. He said, what she wants you to write on the paper? I said, like a basketball player or policeman. He said, put that on paper. Take it up to the school and give it to that dream-killing heifer. So I write it. He said, now take your paper. He said, before you go to bed tonight, now this is my father now with a third grade education. My father was a sharecropper in Alabama. He said, read your paper every night before you go to bed. And when you wake up in the morning, read your paper before you go to school. Read your paper every day and read your paper every night. Took my paper up to the school and I turned it in. It took me till I was 38 years old. But I got on TV.